If you're a coach and your content sounds like everyone else's recycled ChatGPT garbage, if you're posting the same mindset tips and client wins that every other coach is posting, and if you're secretly wondering why your content isn't attracting premium clients, even though you're doing all of the right things, this might be the most important thing that you watch all freaking week. Because what I'm about to show you is why being unique isn't just a nice to have, it's the only way to attract clients who can actually afford you. Now look, I used to be the friggin' king of vanilla content. I'd write these perfectly polished posts, I'd check all of the boxes, I'd hit all of the engagement triggers that the gurus told me to use, and you know what happened? Crickets. Big fat old crickets. Or worse, I'd get likes from other coaches who were also struggling. Not exactly the premium clients that I was hoping for. Now, something shifted. I stopped trying to sound like a professional marketer and I stopped worrying if every post would perform. And I started to write like I would talk to my wife over coffee, like weird stories, controversial opinions, half formed thoughts that I was still working through. And that's when everything started to change. The right people started reaching out to me. The freaking tire kickers stopped wasting my time. And my content actually started to work for me instead of feeling like another chore that was just on my to-do list that I just had to get done that week. And now I found that there are three content traps that most coaches are falling into. You see, most coaches get stuck in one of these three traps when it comes to content. And let me walk you through them so you can see which one, if any, that you're stuck in right now. So, trap number one is the megaphone trap. This is where you're posting everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, X, YouTube, your email list, a freaking carrier pigeon. And you've heard Gary Vee say, post 100 times a day or whatever, and you thought that was the answer. But here's the problem. When you're everywhere, you're nowhere. You're spreading yourself so thin that every piece of content is just mediocre. And with AI making it easier to pump out more content faster, most coaches are just creating more noise, more vanilla, more forgettable, more swipe left. And with Google having just recently published a study showing that there's over 1.2 billion posts being published every single day on the internet, it's not that we need more content, more information out there. That's just adding to the noise. We need to do things differently. And I'm going to walk you through that here in just a second. But the second trap number two, is the perfectionist trap. This is the opposite problem. You spend 3 hours crafting the perfect post. You rewrite it 14 times. You ask your spouse if it sounds okay. And then you hit publish and nothing happens. So you think maybe it wasn't good enough. And you spend another 3 hours on the next one. This is content as performance art. You're so focused on making it perfect that you forget to make it helpful or useful or interesting or authentic or convertible, which we'll get into in a minute. And trap number three is the copycat trap. This is the most common one I see. You follow a bunch of successful coaches that are in your space, you see what they post, and you basically just rearrange their words. And then you post your version. Like, say, for example, the 5 ways to scale your coaching business becomes your 5 secrets to growing your coaching empire. It's the same energy, right? It's the same angle. It's the same everything. Except a lot of times they might have the audience and the credibility and the track record, and you have a post that just sounds like everyone else's. So here's the truth. Like, you're not trying to be better than them. You're trying to be different than them. That's the key. The real problem isn't that you're a bad writer or bad at content or that you don't know what to post. The real problem is that you haven't given yourself permission to sound like you yet. You're still trying to sound like a successful coach or marketer or whatever. And ironically, that's what's keeping you from becoming a successful coach, a successful marketer. Because premium clients don't hire people who sound like everyone else. They hire people who think differently, people who see things that they don't see, who challenge their assumptions, who challenge the industry norms. So let me walk you through now 4 shifts that I made that for me changed everything. You see, shift number one is to steal smart, not stupid. Here's what most coaches do wrong when modeling. They look at another coach's post that went viral. They copy the structure, they copy the hook, the bullet points, the call to action even, and they wonder why there's flops. That's called stupid stealing. Here's smart stealing. And there's a book, I cannot remember the name. It was like, I think it was like Steal Like an Artist or something like that, where this concept comes from, right? And it's like around this, right? Like I don't just follow other coaches, me personally. Like I study comedians, I study podcasters, novelists, screenwriters, musicians, and I ask myself, why did that work? What principle is underneath this? For example, I learned more about storytelling from watching Pixar and Disney movies with my kids than I ever did from a marketing course. I learned more about creating tension and payoff from stand-up comedy than any other copywriting book. And when a coach I see does something brilliant, I don't copy their post. I study the principles behind why it worked. Like what were the copywriting principles of why the hook actually took off? Or why did their call to action or their offer actually perform so well, right? That's what you want to study is the principles, not the actual words, right? Because what you do then is you apply that principle in your own way. That's how you model without becoming a copycat. You're not stealing their voice, you're learning the craft. Make sense? So shift number two is create space to think. This is the big one. This one's going to sound counterintuitive, but the best thing that I ever did for my content was slow down. I used to try to crank out posts between client calls, like 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, and every single post felt forced. It was flat, like forgettable and hard. So then I realized something. You don't have a content problem. A lot of times you just have a clarity problem. Right? Your best ideas don't come when you're rushing. They come in the shower, on walks, during conversations, while you're meditating, while you're cooking dinner. But if your life is back-to-back Zoom calls and, productivity, then you're never giving your brain space to actually think. So here's what I started to do. Every morning, I go for a 20 to maybe 30-minute walk, no phone, just me, a notepad, and I think. I think about the client call that I had yesterday, or the question somebody asked me, or the mistake that I made 3 freaking years ago that I finally figured out. And almost every single post I write or video topic I come up with comes from those walks, not from content prompts on, ChatGPT or viral templates, from my actual life, from my actual thoughts, from my actual experiences. That's the content people connect with. Do you know what I mean? And the third big shift here is you want to build a worldview, not just a method. You see, most coaches sell a method, right? This is if you have ever seen there's a copywriter named Eugene Schwartz, and he came up with this concept called the 5 levels of market sophistication. And basically, level 1 is when you're brand new to the market, and nobody's brand new to the market basically right now in majority of niches. But it's like, hey, online training is now available. It's like brand new. It's like, whoa, crazy concept. You could have a trainer online. What? Right? Obviously, in the coaching world, that doesn't work anymore. And then level 2 is making a claim. So it'd be like, I'm going to show you how to lose 20 pounds in 90 days with online training. You see what I'm saying? You add a claim to it, a benefit to it. And then we're out of those days too. And then 3 is going to be you add a method or a unique mechanism, right? So I'm going to help you lose 20 pounds in 90 days with my metabolic manipulation method, right? You add a method to it. We're past those days. And so where most coaches are like, here's my 5-step framework for X. And look, frameworks are great. You still need to use them. I use them all the time. They're a marketing principle. Here's the actual problem. Methods are easy to freaking copy. Like people can go into ChatGPT and just like they come up with like the stupidest ones, right? The mom method or whatever. Frameworks are a dime a dozen. What's hard to copy, and this is like stage 4 and level 4, level 5 sophistication, is your entire worldview. The way you see the world, the way you filter every decision, the beliefs that shape how you help people. I call this your unique way of thinking. This is your wisdom. It's not just what you teach, it's why you teach it. It's the lens through which you see everything. For me, it's the idea that most coaches are running into someone else's playbook, right? They're not building their Lego. They're building businesses that look good on Instagram, but they feel like prisons to them. And my whole mission is to help coaches be able to build businesses around their actual message, around their actual superpower. Not Alex Hormozy's life, not some other guru's life, theirs. That's their wisdom. That's their superpower. And once I got clear on that, for me, everything got easier. My content, my offers, my sales calls. Because I wasn't just teaching tactics then, I was inviting people into a different way of seeing the world. And that's what attracts premium clients, my friend, is being able to share your unique perspectives, to share your beliefs, to talk about your values, the way you see things, the way you help people, and you're instilling those beliefs into your ideal clients, into other people, because they're going to resonate with it. And if they do resonate, they're going to move forward. People that don't resonate with it, they're going to be repelled. They're going to leave. And that's good. It's a good thing. And so shift number 4 is to stop filtering your voice. Here's the hardest one, at least it was for me. And it's the one that will make the biggest difference. You have to stop being afraid of what other people think. And I know, like, it's easier said than done, believe me. But here's the truth. Every time you soften your opinion to avoid offending somebody, every time you water down your freaking belief to sound professional, every time you say what you think people want to hear instead of saying what you actually think, you make yourself forgettable. The most magnetic version of yourself is the version that doesn't hold back. Not because you're trying to be controversial or polarizing, but because you're being honest with people. You're saying the thing that everyone's thinking, but nobody's saying. You're calling out the BS in your industry. You're admitting that when you don't have the answer, you're sharing the messy, imperfect, real version of you in your journey. That's the version that people pay for. Because when they get the polished advice from a YouTube video, right? When they can't get anywhere else but from the actual like truth, the real perspective. Like people can hop onto YouTube or ChatGPT or any other platform and they can hear again that same recycled garbage over and over and over again. But what people are looking for are different perspectives. They're looking for things that they align with. They're looking for things that tap into the aspirational identity they want to be in. They're looking for new ways of thinking. Even if they don't know how to verbally say it, that's what they're looking for. And so when you stop filtering yourself and you just show up and you just share who you are, like your truth, your voice. And yes, we need to learn the skills, right? You do have to learn like how to market, how to write good copy, how to speak, right? How to influence, how to sell. You have to learn those things for sure, but nothing, it's like what's the saying? Like polishing a turd. It's like if you're trying to come up with this polished content that's not true to you, it's going to flop every time. So the bottom line is this. You could keep posting the same recycled content as everyone else. That's 99% of people's feeds. You could keep trying to crack the algorithm code. I've been trying for years. And I've had some luck with like Facebook. I've gone viral many times on Facebook, but it's not sustainable and it's not how you really need to build a business, right? There's smarter ways that are backed on principles. You could even keep wondering why your content isn't converting, or you can make a different choice. You could decide that being forgettable is a bigger risk than being yourself. You could decide that your uniqueness is your competitive advantage, that your superpower is what the world needs. You could decide that the world doesn't need another version of that other coach. It needs your voice. It needs your stories. It needs your perspective. And yeah, that can be scarier, right? It can. But it's easier to hide behind best practices and proven templates. But I'm telling you right now, the coaches who will win in 2026 and beyond aren't the ones with the best funnels or the most followers. They're the ones who sound like no one else. So stop trying to sound like a successful coach or a marketer or whatever and just sound like you. The clients who are meant for you will find you, like Liam Neeson. I will find you. And the ones who aren't, they're going to keep scrolling. And that's exactly how it should be. Now, go create something that only you could create. Bye for now.